Hello, I'm Ivan. I'm a Venezuelan to been learning languages for 4 years, and because of this, my life changed completely. Currently, I'm in a 6 months challenge to learn German and basically get as fluent as I can. But this wouldn't be possible if I were that guy. That guy was like the support, video games, a lot of things, and now I'm this guy.
Passive listening is actually not as efficient, but it's actually not as inefficient too. And I want to talk about this a little bit because some people actually mistake a lot the usefulness of listening, and they actually don't really know precisely how to use listening. Passive listening. And first, there's one concept that you need to understand, which is passive and active listening. And it is that if you are actually not paying attention to your passive listening, you're of course not learning anything. So that's why you need to actually do more active listening instead of passive listening. And that's why whenever you are doing passive listening with an action, coupled with an action that actually you have to pay lots of attention to, it's actually not as worth it. Because you are just not paying attention to your passive listening. So that's why you have to do it with tasks and activities that actually don't require your attention. That is stretching and training, depending on the training that you're doing, right? Training, jogging, taking a walk. Maybe you are here taking some sunlight and you do passive listening while you take sunlight. Like those type of things. And when you basically do that with you do that enough times, you will basically when you basically do passive listening and you're actually paying attention to it, then it's actually not passive listening anymore, and actually it's just immersion right now, right? Now, passive listening in general, whenever you're doing something else, is useful because you can review the things that you have learned. It is not useful if you're actually going to learn something new. That's when passive listening and active listening is actually not useful, right? And this is really important. Why? Because if you're trying to learn things new with passive listening, and let's say that you don't really study some vocabulary, but just do passive listening, and you just listen to podcasts, you listen to, I don't know, videos or shit of the like, you will not learn almost anything. Maybe you could get better at listening and basically being able to recognize sounds in the language, but that's it. So, you need to basically do some large study in which basically you're actually paying attention to it. So let's say for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then you are going to listen to that study of yours, right? While doing passive listening. Or you're gonna see vocabulary, right? And then you are going to listen to the content that has that vocabulary, right? So that's the second thing. Passive listening is really useful when it comes to reviewing, right? Not learning, no, reviewing, right? Now, when you have a good level on listening and when you actually can recognize most of the words in the language, yes, you can learn with passive listening alone when you listen to podcasts, sure. But if you don't have a good level and you're just doing passive listening, then literally you need to review things that you have learned, right? So that's why passive listening is not that useful for most people. And the third thing, which doesn't really relate that much with passive listening, is that it actually requires way more repetition than you think. And passive listening is literally probably the best way of doing lots of repetitions, right? But actually being able to say a sentence and being able to say something requires like 40 to 50 repetitions of the thing. And this is why people get really stuck whenever they are trying to learn how to speak the language or how to express themselves, because they don't have enough repetitions of the things that they want to be able to say. So it is more or less something like you literally have to repeat the thing that you want to be able to say like 30 or 40 times actively. So that means if you are listening to it passively and you do 50 repetitions of the sentence that you want to be able to say, you will, that's not like 50 repetitions, that's literally 0 repetitions because you didn't pay attention to it. Okay? Even if you kind of did it unconsciously. So that's the third thing. And yeah, that's it for a video. I hope that you like it. If you're interested in a free community in which you basically can book calls for free and chat with me, check the first link in the description. Bye.